Welcome, everyone. This is Tech for Senior. It is, of course, episode, Hewie, 289, almost 290, season 6, of course. And this is, it is October the 20th. So big, next week it'll be 290, which is pretty cool. Anyway, welcome everyone. We have a big show for you today. As I mentioned earlier, those of you who did get our newsletter this Saturday, I thought it was interesting. Geocaching. I don't know if anyone's ever done that, but I did a little bit of it when I lived down in Mesa. It's a lot of fun. I thought it was great for seniors, and it offers a little bit of getting out, a bit of moving around a bit, and it can be quite fun. And if you haven't heard what geocaching is all about, I would encourage you to sign up and make sure you look at our newsletters. Now, if you can't figure out email or don't have email or you can't decide how to really sign up for anything, all our newsletters, of course, as I've said before, are available on our website, www.techforsenior.com. Just go to the top and click the newsletter, and you will see the newsletter so if you have trouble loading it or anything, that's all there. And when you do that, you'll also see the past 20 editions as well. You can go back and look at all the past editions that we have as well. So it's all there for you. And thank you so much for our sponsors, which of course are the Glendora Seniors Computer Club in California. We have, of course, Geeks on Tour who are traveling. I'm sure where they are now. They're in the South China Sea somewhere. I have no idea where they are, but anyway, they're out there somewhere. And we want to thank the APCUG for sponsoring our newsletter. Today, as I said, we have a big show for you, so I won't spend a lot of time going over everything. But I have to tell you, I was so mad at Mike Leaman last night because I was downloading and getting the music set up for today, and that darn his music today, I couldn't sleep all night. It kept going around in my mind, and it's toe tapping music. You've got to stay. So don't close off. You got to stay to the end.
Don't be telling them that, Ron. They won't want to listen now.
You're just cancel out now and come back for Mike's music. You will really, really like what Mike's done for us today. And it is so toe tapping, and it's really cute. It's really great. And the only thing is I couldn't sleep. I can't sleep. I couldn't sleep all last night. All right, let me quickly introduce everyone. Everybody knows, of course, Hewie Poplock. Did you have anything you want to say, Hewie?
Nope.
No? That's it? Nothing?
Not a thing.
Not a thing. All right, okay. And Mike Leaman, welcome from Moncton, New Brunswick. And we'll be hearing from you pretty soon. And Bill James, of course, is off in France. Well, he went to France, didn't he? Was it France he went to?
No, yeah,
Italy.
Yeah.
Italy.
Italy.
He went to Italy with 3 girls. Yeah. There should be some good stories on this one.
He has posted some pictures on Facebook. So it looks like he's having a good time as usual.
Okay. Well, he'll be back in a couple of weeks. And I think he sent me his gadget article as well. So we should have something for tomorrow in our newsletter. That'll be great. Okay. So the first video I have for you is an important one. This is a new feature that has come out in Google and for Google security and for your account. Now, many of you have remembered Dorothy, I think in Victoria, I don't know if Dorothy's on. She's been doing a lot of work helping seniors and a lot of trouble with account recovery. Their passwords don't work, and then they go to recover an account and they can't do it. And we've all experienced that. We've talked a lot about it, but just this week, Google has announced a new system that you can use, and you can phone a friend. And so this is a really important video to watch, because this is certainly going to make it easier to do a Google account recovery. It's rolling out. I don't have this in Canada yet. I think it's available in the US, but it is rolling out. It's just announced last week. And so let's have a look how this works and how it can make your job easier doing a Google account recovery.
Okay, I want you to imagine something for a second. Your phone and your laptop, they're just gone, stolen. And just like that, access to your entire digital life, we're talking emails, photos, contacts, everything, vanishes. It's a truly terrifying thought, right? Well, for one person, this wasn't just a thought. It was a month-long nightmare. So let's dive into their story and, more importantly, figure out exactly how you can avoid it.
I mean, just read that. This quote from a Reddit user just perfectly captures the sheer frustration and then the relief of this whole process. Getting locked out of your Google account is not a quick fix. So what we're going to do is walk through their story, really understand the pitfalls, and then we'll build your ultimate defense plan.
So, how does a nightmare like this even begin? Well, it all starts when a user's trusted devices get stolen, which leads to this catastrophic digital lockout.
Let's just break this down because it's the perfect storm. The devices they normally use to sign in, gone. They couldn't remember their password off the top of their head. And their two-factor authentication? Yeah, that was on an app on the phone that was just stolen. Now, they did have a recovery phone number, but as you're about to see, that alone wasn't nearly enough to get past Google's automated security.
Okay, so with no way in, the user did what any of us would do. They tried to contact Google for help, but what they found wasn't really a support system. It was more like a frustrating automated maze. And you can just see the dead ends they hit, one after another. They tried Google One support, they only got generic, unhelpful advice, workspace support, social media, the help forums, totally useless. There was this one little glimmer of hope from YouTube support, but because the account wasn't technically hacked, it was just inaccessible, that door slammed shut too. You know what's so maddening about this whole process is how it can actually punish you for trying too hard. After a bunch of recovery attempts, the system automatically locked them out. The message said something like, try again in a few hours, but the reality? It was a full 7-day wait.
Unbelievable.
Okay, so that was the problem. It's stressful, I know, but it is preventable. So let's pivot to the solution, building a solid security plan. And we're going to start with the absolute basics that everyone should set up like right now.
All right, this is a really important distinction to get right. Let's talk about the difference between a recovery email and a recovery contact. A recovery email, that's an email address that you own that gets security alerts and helps with recovery. Pretty standard. But a recovery contact, and this is a newer feature, is a trusted person whose only job is to help you get back in. They don't get your security alerts, which is a really important privacy distinction.
You know, for years, getting a text message with a code felt super secure. But things have changed. SMS messages aren't encrypted. That makes them vulnerable to some pretty sophisticated attacks, like SIM swapping, where a hacker basically tricks your phone company into giving them control of your number. The FBI, CISA, pretty much all security experts have been warning us not to rely on SMS for years now. It's time to upgrade.
And that brings us to a really powerful new tool in your security kit. Instead of relying on a vulnerable text message, Google now lets you rely on a person you actually trust. Let's dig into how these recovery contacts work.
Think of your recovery contact as someone who's holding a spare key to your digital house. They can't just walk in and look around. They have zero access to your data or your emails, but they can help you unlock the door if you find yourself stuck outside, and you can add up to 10 of them, which is great.
And setting this up is incredibly simple. Seriously, you just go to the security section of your Google account, find recovery contacts, and type in the email of someone you trust. They'll get a request that they need to accept, and that's it. You've just added a powerful new layer of security to your account.
Okay, but here's a really critical detail you need to know. This whole process is time sensitive. The request is only valid for 15 minutes. That's why you have to choose someone who's responsive. You know, a close friend or family member you can get a hold of quickly.
The process itself is actually pretty clever and secure. When you're locked out, Google gives you a number. You then share that number with your contact. On their screen, they'll see 3 different numbers, and all they have to do is select the one you gave them. Simple, effective, and really secure.
So, what happens if your devices are gone and you can't reach any of your recovery contacts? Is it just game over? Well, not if you've prepared for the absolute worst-case scenario with a good old-fashioned offline safety net. Backup codes are your last line of defense. They're your break glass in case of emergency tool. Google gives you a set of 10 single-use codes that you can print out or save somewhere safe. If every other method fails, you can use one of these codes as your second factor to sign back in and get control of your account. Now, the crucial part here is how you manage these codes. Don't just save them as a file on your desktop. No. Print them out, store them somewhere physically safe, like in a safe with your passport. Treat them like cash. And remember, once you use a code, it's done. Cross it off the list. And hey,
For those of you who need the absolute highest level of security, maybe you're a journalist or an activist, it's definitely worth looking into even stronger options. Things like passkeys and physical security keys are the gold standard, and they're part of Google's Advanced Protection program.
Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, from some scary cautionary tales to some really cool cutting-edge security features. So now let's put it all together into a simple, actionable plan that you can complete in the next 5 minutes to make sure this never, ever happens to you. So Google has this fantastic tool called the Security Checkup that basically just walks you through everything. It checks for weak or reused passwords. It shows you every single device logged into your account so you can boot out anything you don't recognize. You can review recent activity, make sure your two-step verification is set up correctly, and you can manage which third-party apps have access to your data. Just run through this checklist. It is the single best thing you can do right now.
So I'll just leave you with that question. Is it? Don't wait until you're locked out to find the answer. Please, take 5 minutes right now, run the security checkup, add a recovery contact, and print out those backup codes. Trust me, your future self will thank you for it.
So they're interesting, and it's not available yet in Canada. I just checked this morning, and I don't have it, but you may have that as it rolls out. I see Bill James is here. Bill, do you want to say something?
Hi, everyone. That's all I can say.
Where are you?
I'm good. I lost track of the time. It's now like almost 6, a little bit after 6 here, and I was planning on checking in earlier, but everything's fine. We're having a ball. We're at
And you're in Italy, right? You're in Italy, right?
Yes, which is really beautiful.
Very good. Well, welcome to the show. We've just started.
I see. I'll check with you during the Q&A.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Bill. Okay, let's move on now to, so there might be some more questions about this in the Q&A about this. I think it's a really cool feature. Now let's talk Google Photos issue. Let's talk and see what Chris has to say about some features in Google Photos.
Have you ever noticed when you're swiping through your photos on your phone that there's some movement in there? On your iPhone, that's called Live Photo. I want to show you where it comes from and what you can do with it. Then Samsung and Pixel have similar features. On Samsung, it's called a motion photo, and on the Pixel, it's Top Shot. iPhone is by far the most feature-rich, so that's where I'm going to spend most of the time today, and then I will show you just a little bit of Samsung and tell you about the Pixel. First, how to take a live photo with an iPhone. It's just in your camera. You tap on the little bullseye in the upper right-hand corner, you make sure that you're set to photo, and then you just snap a picture with the shutter button like normal. And I want to show you that. And one of the really interesting things is it captures motion before you snap the shutter button. So I'm going to ask Jim to use his hands and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to snap the shutter on 3 and then show you the results. So here is the Apple camera, and it's this button right up at the top. Notice I'm in standard photo mode, and that little bullseye, I tapped it once and it says live off. I tap it again and it says live. So the live feature is now on. And Jim's gonna go
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
So I tap the shutter button on the count of 3, and let's see what I got. So I see a photo that looks like just a still shot of when he's holding up 3 fingers. But if I touch and hold on it,
2, 3, 4.
You see the whole count of 5. So then, what can you do with it? You can pick a frame. So this is all on the iPhone, and how you pick a frame is you go into edit mode. So on this photo, I tap the edit button. It's this little sliders button, and then you tap the live button. And then you can pick another frame. So I can go to where he just had up 1. If I wanted to have, I'm number 1, and you tap Make Key Photo. But let's look at some better examples. So here is a motion photo that I think is a little bit more interesting. It was somebody jumping into the water, scuba diving, and she's halfway into the water, but touch on it. You see I get her actually jumping. I would like to have her mid-air. Edit, live, and find the one where she's mid-air and Make Key Photo. Now that is the photo that will show. When I tap done, that's the photo that shows. But there's lots more. Right up here where it says live, I can make this picture loop, meaning she will just continuously be jumping into the water. That is a loop. I could also bounce, meaning she goes into the water and back out. Into the water and back out. Or I could long exposure. Now, this is not an appropriate picture for long exposure. I'm just going to go back to live. Now, here is one where I told Jim, my guinea pig for all things photo, I told him to blink a lot. So the photo that got captured has his eyes closed. If I edit and go into the live mode, I can find one where his eyes are open. There, his eyes are open there. Make Key Photo, and done. And this one, she was serving us champagne, and I wanted her to be looking at us and smiling, and I know, there, that's what I want. Edit, live, and find that frame. There, much better. Make Key Photo, and done. Now, here is one that is appropriate for the long exposure. This is a waterfall. If I tap and hold, you see there is motion and there's sound, but sound isn't important for this purpose. Live and long exposure. And you'll see the water become a soft waterfall, I call it. And it's working some other magic too. It's making sure that there isn't any motion in the background. It's stabilizing the background as it does a long exposure for the water. Way cool. And the last thing you can do is you just tap on the three dots. If I'm back to just a normal live photo, one of the things you can do is save as video. So instead of the photo and the video, it just becomes a video. Makes it easier to share that way if you want the motion. To review, with an Apple Photos, you can pick a different frame for the still shot. That's called the key photo. You can save the video separately. You can make it loop or bounce. That's fun. And you can make it in a long exposure. What if you have a Samsung phone? It has a similar feature called motion photo. And once again, it's just like taking a normal photo, but if the motion setting is on, it gets you not quite as much as the iPhone, but it still has a couple seconds of video along with it. On a Samsung, mine happens to be an S21 Ultra. Not all models of Samsung will have this feature, but if I go into camera, I see this little play button icon. The second button from the right looks like a play button. If you tap it, it says motion photo off. Tap it again, it says motion photo on. So with motion photo on, and you just take a picture, you get that couple seconds of motion. Let me show you some examples. And I'm just going to use Google Photos now to show you these. So here is a bird that is fishing. And if you've ever tried to take a picture and catch them when their head hits the water, it's impossible. How am I seeing that motion? It's this little play button right here. This is in Google Photos. You can play the motion, or you can tap pause and just see the still. And you get the proper frame by scrolling up, and then you see all the shots in the motion photo, and you can get whatever one you want. If I want him just aiming for the water, I can take that, and you tap Save a Copy. So instead of making a key frame, it saves a whole other photo. You still have your original motion photo, and you have the still. Then actually, if that still is all that you really want, you might want to go back and delete the motion photo because they are big files with that 2 seconds of video. Here's the review. Using Google Photos on Android, you can view the motion from either iPhone Live Photos or Android Motion Photos. Just click the play icon. You can save the video separately by swiping up, tapping Export, and then Video, or you can pick a different frame, and I showed you that. I do want to show you Export as animated GIF. So same thing with this bird. Let's swipe up and then look at all the options, and there is Export. Export and GIF and Export. Now I'll go look at that, and there is the animated GIF. So I can post this anywhere and that motion will be there and will repeat. Then just a word about the Pixel. On the Pixel, the similar feature is called Top Shot. It captures less time than the Apple or the Samsung, and it's all before the shutter button. It does not capture sound, but it has that same ability to pick the best frame. And my favorite example really is if you've ever tried to capture lightning, you know how difficult it can be. But with motion photo, no problem. As soon as you see the lightning, you snap the shot, and you get the couple seconds before you snapped it, and you can find the frame where there is the lightning. Pretty cool. I'm Chris Guld with Geeks on Tour, and this was Fun with Photos.
Thanks, Chris, wherever you are. And just a reminder, I did not mention the premiere video that we'll be having later this at hour. The 3 selections this week will be Bill James is going to talk about Microsoft Storage Sense. Hewie is going to talk about all the data that we can see on your photos. So that's sort of cool. Or getting the data, which I think is great. Very interesting. I'm going to talk about something called a time to change. And that actually is flowing into my next video, which we're going to talk about AI and why we should be using this, particularly seniors, in our daily lives. So many of you today still, I think about AI as being spooky, weird, complicated, but in my life, I use it absolutely every day, and you'll see some of the uses today that I think you would benefit a lot from. So let's have a look at the video, and we'll see what I have to say. Hello, everyone. Ron Brown here from Tech for Senior. Now, be honest. How many of you thought AI was just another tech fad for the grandkids? Maybe even something that you might take over the world? Well, relax. This isn't science fiction. It's senior-friendly science. Today, we're going to talk about AI for everyday life, how it can make your day a little easier, save some money, and maybe even make you laugh. And don't worry, no programming, no passwords, and definitely no robots chasing you around the living room. Let's start by admitting something for many seniors. AI sounds, well, complicated. But once you see what it can do, you'll wonder how you've ever lived without it. Let's face it, there are a few reasons why many seniors are hesitant to jump into this whole AI thing. Let's go through them, with a little humor, of course. The first is the fear of the unknown. When people hear artificial intelligence, they picture HAL from 2001, A Space Odyssey. No, AI won't lock you out of your house or read your mind, but it might remind you that you're out of coffee. Barrier 2, too much jargon. AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, large language model, it sounds like science fiction alphabet soup. I used to think that a large language model was something that you ordered at Sears. Barrier 3, privacy worries. Yes, privacy is important, but AI isn't spying on you. It's just using what you tell it to help you get the answers faster. I asked ChatGPT for a rhubarb pie recipe. It remembered I hate raisins. Now that's smart. Barrier 4 is overcomplicated interfaces. Now be honest, we've all been there. You open an app and there are 14 buttons to push and you need a new password. I swear half of the technology is just inventing new ways to reset your password. And barrier 5 is sort of like feeling left behind. Our grandkids are using AI to write essays. We just want help ordering groceries. The good news, AI now speaks plain English. No degree required. Just talk to it. Okay, barrier smashed. Let's look and see what AI can actually do for you. All right, so now we're in ChatGPT. I entered in a search to find the best deal on coffee pods at Walmart. So the answer to this was, and remember I'm in Canada, so they're looking at the Canadian site, here are the best priced coffee pod options at Walmart Canada right now. If you're simply hunting for a deal, note that the counts per box vary. Now they noticed a problem in that they want to know if I'm looking for Keurig or Nespresso. Anyway, quick take, the cheapest box prices, it gives me some ideas there, some solid name brand values. If you use Nespresso, what to look for. And then it says, want me to narrow this Keurig versus Nespresso. And I think we'll stick with Keurig. And let's keep a budget because we're budget-minded seniors and we want less than 50 cents. So I'm going to type in here Keurig and then do a search. And here we are. Great value. It tells you exactly what we're looking for. And it gives you some thoughts here. And if we click this, it takes us right to the Walmart site where you can actually order it. You saw that? We clicked over here and it took us right over to Walmart. We'll go to Walmart CA and it's going to bring up our account at Walmart and you can order them. So as we come down here, it's given all sorts of examples, more information, why under 50 cents, is it unrealistic, what you can try instead. Bottom line is no Keurig pods under 50 cents exist currently, or at least not any visible listings on Walmart Canada, all right? So we couldn't find any, but there were lots of other ones here. If you like, I can dig into bulk wholesalers or closeout deals, not only Walmart. So you can keep going on and on with this, and it's a great way to look at shopping. You don't have to leave your own home, and how simple is this? All right, I'd now like to look at how you can use it to do investigative work on items that you might have found online. This doesn't necessarily have to be on Amazon. It could be on any online site that you want. The example I'm going to give you today is a product I just bought on Amazon. Now I've been having a little pain in my shoulder, probably some arthritis, and I wanted to buy a new heating pad. I did a search on Amazon. Well, you know me and Amazon. The truck stops daily at my house. But I wanted to do a little investigation on this particular heating pad and see if it was a good one. And I actually did buy this one, but this is the one that I'm going to do some investigation on. But this will work on any product you want to buy wherever you are on the internet. So this is a little trick I'm going to show you. What you're going to do is you're going to come up now, and at the top of the search here, this is what we call a URL. This is a link that identifies this particular product on Amazon. What we're going to do is we're going to select this, and I'm going to right click and say copy. And now we're going to paste this into ChatGPT, and let's see what we find. Okay, we're back over on, this is of course ChatGPT. I'm just simply going to paste the URL into the search bar. And at the end, I'm just going to type in evaluate. And let's see what happens. So it immediately finds the item, and then it's going to give me a whole bunch of stuff. what the listing says, what the pro and con features are, potential limitations, the analysis that it gives. It's going to go and it's going to tell you what it thinks. And its analysis of this particular product is, this seems like a solid mid-upper tier heating pad. The features are compatible, multiple heat sensors, moist, dry region, long cord, gives a bunch of reasons why this is probably a good buy. Then at the very end, it says, if you tell me you intend to use it for back pain, neck, and general I can compare this to alternatives and see whether this is a good choice for your needs. Do you want me to check user reviews in comparison? And I'm going to say yes. And let's see what happens. And here it gives all the reviews, heat performances, awareness. It goes on, weaknesses, complaints, how it stacks up for different uses. And it goes on and discusses alternative heating pad options worth considering. It gives you some other ones here that you might want to purchase. And it goes on and on. A lot of the final verdict. Again, it is a lot of information that took seconds to find. Just copy that URL into ChatGPT and say evaluate. It can't get any easier than that. All right, let's talk about another great feature you can use AI for, and that is cooking. Now, out of all the things that seniors can use AI for, I think cooking is one of the most impressive things it can do for you. I could do a whole show just on cooking. But in a nutshell, one of the problems when you're a senior, there's just my wife and I in the house. So when I want recipes, I want them for 2 people. Most recipes you find online are for 4 or 6. So that's the first problem. So the recipes that you can create or you can adjust on in AI, you can just ask it to make a recipe for 2 people. The second is we often have leftovers. And I had some salmon the other day, and it was salmon, and I was sitting around wondering what I was going to do with it. And I thought, I'm going to make a salmon casserole. And so for 2. and I did. It turned out it was a simple recipe. They gave it to me. AI gave it to me. I just told it what I had. It created the casserole, and it was great. It was absolutely a wonderful casserole. I'll see if I got a picture of it. I think I do. I'll put it online and I'll show you how it turned out. But it was great. This morning I got up, I said to my wife, what would you like for breakfast? I always do breakfast. She said, I like pancakes. So I asked ChatGPT for a recipe for pancakes for 2. Here's what, I just did this an hour ago, and here it came up. Here's the ingredients. I don't need the instructions. And you can add some blueberries or bananas in. And then it says, would you like me to adapt it for whole wheat or gluten-free pancakes? Well, if I wanted to do that, it's there too. Let's just see let's ask it. And it's going to come up with gluten-free versions of this. And it just quickly comes up, and there you go. So it is so important that this is a huge benefit for seniors. I think if you're living at home, you're doing some cooking, it's great. You should be using this every day. It's an everyday thing that I use, and I couldn't be without it now. So the next thing you should be using AI for is asking technical questions around technology. If you're watching this, you probably have a computer or a cell phone or something that you've had some questions about. It doesn't always work as it should. And where do you ask those technical questions? Well, AI is a great place to go. It can give you really good answers. It can drill down on specific problems. If you're having trouble connecting your printer, it can zoom right into things that you can try and do. So it is a great resource, and it's so simple to do. I'll give you an example. Yesterday I was mowing the grass. It was 4:30 in the afternoon. I was listening to YouTube music on my earbuds, and it stopped playing about 4:30. I know that because I looked at my watch, and I couldn't get it going. So I came into the studio a little bit later and thought, better check this. And I couldn't get on YouTube. I'd never seen this before. It ended up YouTube was down. Nothing wrong with at least I couldn't see anything wrong with my system. But I just asked ChatGPT if there were any broadcast outages, problems with YouTube. Now, this occurred immediately. I was in the studio immediately after this occurred, so it was too early for that information to flow through, but it did give me some troubleshooting things that I could try. I sort of suspected it was probably something not within my control, and by the next day they had the worldwide outage, which was a big deal, fixed. But technical issues are great. You can solve those, and you should be using AI to help with those problems. And it doesn't matter if it's technical stuff like computer stuff. If you have any plumbing problems, any sort of problems around the house, just ask AI. It's so simple. All right, now I'm going to show you the mobile ChatGPT app. Now, you can use Gemini, Copilot, whatever you feel most comfortable with. They all have different flavors, but I exclusively, or pretty much exclusively, use ChatGPT, so I feel very comfortable with it. So that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you 2 features of the mobile app that you as a senior should be using in the grocery store every time you're shopping. It's going to save you a lot of money. So let me show you the first feature that is so simple to use. Now, I will say that I did have a lot of trouble getting this recording because of the technology and the way these phones work. It wasn't able to capture the image on the phone, so I had to use another phone to capture the phone that I was using. Anyway, we got it done. Now, I did do it in my kitchen, and my wife's doing the recording of me on the phone. But you'll get the idea. Now, in this picture, I'm going to start ChatGPT Live. This is a different version of ChatGPT. Well, you sort of hit a little extra button, and this allowed you just to, like having the grocery store manager right there with you. You just ask a question, and you'll see me getting the ChatGPT Live up. You'll see me adding the image and us having a little discussion about this product, which I had no idea what it was. So let's have a look and see how this goes. It's a lot of fun and something you should be doing every time you're shopping. Now, the other thing, though, this is very internet dependent. Now, some stores, such as Walmart, are very, very internet dependent and provide good Wi-Fi for you while you're in the store. You have the other stores like Costco, which are not. And in our Costco, there is no Wi-Fi, and it's very difficult even to get cellular signal in these great big concrete stores. So it depends where you are. But if you have an internet-friendly store, this works extremely well. So let's have a look and see what I did. Right. Okay, I'm going to open up ChatGPT on my phone. And we're going to come down to the right-hand side here over to the ChatGPT Live. I'm going to click this, and we're going to open up this is ChatGPT Live. Now, I'm going to ask it, can you help me with an image?
Absolutely. Feel free to let me know what kind of image you need or what you're looking to do, and I'll be happy to help you out with it.
All right, here's the image. What is this?
So that looks like a kabocha squash. It's kind of a winter squash. Typically has that dark green rind and a bit of a flattened shape. If you're wondering what to do with it, it's really tasty roasted or in soups. Let me know if you need more info.
That'd be great. How do you tell if it's ripe or not?
Yeah, definitely. So with the kabocha squash, usually if it's ripe, it feels pretty heavy for its size, and the skin's going to be kind of a deep, dull green rather than a shiny green. Sometimes the stem area that it's had time to mature. Also, if you give it a gentle knock and it sounds kind of hollow, that's another hint that it's good and ready to go. So those little cues should help you out.
Do you know what the cost of this locally would be?
So locally in Canada right now, a kabocha squash can run roughly between about 12 to 17 Canadian dollars per kilogram, depending on where you're shopping. So that should give you a ballpark idea.
Okay, thanks so much. All right, now the second part of the app we're going to use is not so much internet dependent, although you will need a Wi-Fi connection. And this is where we're not going to use ChatGPT Live. We are just going to take an image and have it get some information for us. So I'm in the grocery store and I've clicked that little button. You'll see here, there's a little button to the left. And if you click that, you can create an image from your camera. So I did that. I'm in the cheese section, and you'll see here that we have some Dubliner cheese up on the screen here. You'll see that. Now, a good question would be, is this a good price? I want to buy some cheese. Is this a good price? How do you instantly get this compared to all the other cheeses by the other grocery stores in town? So let's have a look. So basically you would just click this. Now it's going to ask you a couple of questions here. And why do we want this? And why do we want this? And I said, is this a good price? So then it responds and tells me from the photo it looks like, it tells me what we're looking at here. And then now it's comparing this to other stores in my area. Remember, I'm just standing in the grocery store, aiming my phone at the cheese, and it's now taking and comparing it to all the other cheeses in town. Is a good price. Well, reserve cheddar at $10.49 is very close to a typical retail pricing. Dubliner $9.49 is somewhat on the higher side relative to some other pricing. So yes, it's not an outrageous price. You're paying for premium cheese and import costs, so it's not shocking. All right, so that's something that you can use in your everyday shopping trip to get you the best deals and the best price, and it's right on your smartphone. So there you have it. Different ways AI can make your life a little simpler, a little smarter, and maybe a little more fun. Remember, you don't need to understand how it works, you just need to use it. From groceries to healthcare, travel to companionship, AI is already part of your everyday life. So this week, try one thing. Ask ChatGPT or Gemini a question you'd normally Google. You'll be amazed how easy it is. And if this video made you smile, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and remind them that AI doesn't stand for Aunt Irene, though she might enjoy it too. So see you next week on Tech for Senior. Hopefully you have a good week. I'm Ron Brown. Okay, Hewie, you're up.
Okay, let me get things ready to go here. But while I'm doing that, I do want to say that when you're working with recipes, one of the things that I've discovered is if I don't have one of the items in the recipe, I can tell it, well, why don't you tell me something I can substitute that with, and it will actually do that for me. So I've done that a few times where I didn't have the right item, but I could do it, change it, and get something else. So recipes are a great way to use AI. Okay, let me go ahead and click this. And away we go. Microsoft Winget, a better way to manage your apps. I'm Hewie Poplock. We're going to explore a hidden gem in Windows, a tool called Winget. It's short for Windows Package Manager. But don't worry about the technical name. By the end of this session, you'll see how this simple feature helps install and update programs safely. No complicated steps, no risk of downloading the wrong thing. Winget is already built into Windows 10 and Windows 11. It helps you find, install, and update your favorite apps automatically. Think of it like a personal assistant that shops for software at Microsoft's official store and installs it for you. Everything comes from trusted sources, making it safer than downloading from random websites. For many of us, downloading software can feel risky or confusing. There are ads, fake download buttons, and too many clicks. Winget removes that. You just tell it what you want and it does the work for you, safely and quietly in the background. It's also very handy for keeping all your apps updated with one simple command. To use Winget, we open either Windows Terminal or Command Prompt. Both are already installed. You don't need to be a programmer. It's just like giving your computer short, clear directions using your keyboard instead of a mouse. Here are 3 easy commands to remember. Winget search 𝕤𝕤𝕚.𝕤𝕦𝕡𝕡𝕠𝕠𝕠 looks up a program that you want. Winget install 𝕤𝕤𝕚.𝕤𝕦𝕡𝕡𝕠𝕠 installs it automatically. Winget upgrade --all updates everything in one go. If you never remember the rest, the last one alone can save time and frustration. When Winget runs, it connects to Microsoft's official catalog of software. That means you never have to worry about unsafe downloads or trick installers adding unwanted toolbars. It's as secure as installing apps from the Microsoft Store. If you're ever wondering what's already installed, type Winget list. You'll get a tidy, organized list of all your programs by name and version. This helps you keep track of updates without opening lots of menus. Obviously, this is a rather long list. So here's just part of that list so you can see what it says and what it does. Say you need a program to open PDFs. Normally, you would Google Adobe Reader, click through ads, and hope you don't grab a bad version. With Winget, you type one line. Winget install adobe.acrobat.reader. Press enter, and it safely installs the right program for you. You'll notice in my example, it's not quite that text, but it's close to it. I want to install Adobe Acrobat Reader, but I'm not quite sure how to phrase that. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in Winget search, and then Acrobat, and press enter. And it'll list several different versions, and the one we want is the Acrobat Reader 64-bit. So it's going to be with capital letters, Adobe Acrobat Reader .64-bit. So what we're going to type then is Winget install Adobe.Acrobat Reader. Make sure we've got that exactly the same. Adobe.acrobat.reader .64-bit. We're going to install it by pressing enter. It's actually downloading it. It's extracting the files, and it's installed. We see that Adobe Acrobat is now installed. Let's work with a list that's manageable on the screen. What we'll type in is the command to get the list of files needing upgrading. This will list all of the apps that are on this computer that Microsoft recognizes, which version it is, and also the latest version available. We can tell it to upgrade directly from here. If we want to upgrade one of the apps that we have installed, we type in Winget upgrade to see the list. We can do Winget upgrade and then all, and it'll do all of them. We're not going to do that right now. Let's just do Amazon.Kindle. So what we're going to do is we're going to type in Winget upgrade space. We'll make sure that that's exactly the way it is right here. And then we're going to tell it to go ahead, press enter, downloading it, doing the install, and it's installed, and it's updated the Kindle to the latest version 2.80. Winget is safe, but it's always smart to look before you install. If you ever make a mistake, uninstalling is simple with the command Winget uninstall app name. And if your Windows is up to date, Winget will stay secure automatically. Winget doesn't have every app in the world yet, but it covers most of the popular ones. Zoom, Paint.net, VLC, and many others. It does require the internet, and if you share a PC, installing as your own user is best. Let's recap. Winget comes already built into Windows. It keeps your apps secure, up to date, and saves time. No more endless download pages or remembering which programs to update. Microsoft Winget, a better way to manage your apps. I'm Hewie Poplock.
Thanks, Hewie. Probably more questions and Q&A. We want to move on quickly now. Excuse me. I'm going to say goodbye to our friends over on YouTube. If you want to pop over and visit us here, excuse me, if you want to pop over and visit us for the Q&A, there's lots of room over in the show here. That's great. I'll stop the live feed. Mike, do you want to take it over?
I will do that. Before I get into the music, a movie suggestion. Anybody who's looking for a really, really funny movie to watch and has Amazon Prime, the movie Poms, P-O-M-S, stars Diane Keaton from 2019, and it's the story of a lady who moves to a retirement community and starts a cheerleading squad for seniors. I'll just leave it at that. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. This is the one I want. Okay, so this week, with Halloween coming up, I've selected the song Monster Mash. And let's look at the song and the story behind it. The artist was Bobby Boris Pickett and the Crypt Kickers. It was released on August 25th, 1962, written by Bobby Pickett and Leonard Cabrisi. The genre was novelty pop and Halloween, and it was released by Garpax Records. The origins? Well, Bobby Pickett was a young actor and singer who performed in a band called the Cordials. During live shows, Pickett would often do an impression of Boris Karloff, the actor who famously played Frankenstein's monster in the 1930s Universal horror films. The crowd loved his impression, and his bandmate, Leonard Cabrisi, suggested they write a song about it, combining the monster movie craze and the dance crazes popular at the time, like the twist and the mashed potato. Thus, the song's concept was born, a parody of both horror movies and dance trends, with Frankenstein and other classic monsters throwing a party. Recording and production. It was recorded in one session at Western Recorders in Hollywood, with Gary S. Paxton of ℸ𝕒𝕒 fame producing it. The group name, the Crypt Kickers, was created just for the record. The musicians included Gary Paxton, Leon Russell, Johnny McRae, and Ricky Page. Some of the sound effects were created. The creaking door was a rusty nail being pulled from a board. The bubbling cauldron was simulated by blowing through a straw in water, and the chains were simply dropped on the floor for the effect. The lyrics and the theme. The song is a comical narrative about Dr. Frankenstein's monster creating a new dance called the Monster Mash. And I promise not to sing this. I was working in the lab late one night when my eyes beheld an eerie sight. Pickett narrates the story as the monster throwing a big bash attended by Dracula, Igor, and other famous creatures. The chorus explains that everyone joins in the fun. It's the Monster Mash, a spoof of the dance crazes at the time. It reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in October 1962, just before Halloween. But it re-entered the charts several times, at number 91 in 1970 and in number 10 in 1973 after being reissued in the UK. The song has become a perennial Halloween favorite, returning to radio every October. Some lesser-known facts. The BBC banned the song in 1962 for being too morbid, even though it's obvious tongue-in-cheek presentation. Bobby Pickett later released follow-ups including Monsters Holiday, a Christmas-themed sequel, and Monster Rap in 1985, a rap version. Pickett performed the song for decades and appeared on numerous TV shows and every Halloween season. It's been featured in The Simpsons, the Addams Family, and countless other Halloween competition. Bobby Pickett often joked that he lived off the song's royalties for the rest of his life. The legacy. Monster Mash was widely considered the most popular Halloween song ever recorded. It's been covered by artists like the Beach Boys, the Misfits, Vincent Price, and Alvin and the Chipmunks. And in 2005, it was added to the Grammy Hall of Fame. And you really want to look, if you want to go search YouTube, you can find the Beach Boys doing it in 1964, or you can find them doing it as late as the early 1980s. And of course, the classic Vincent Price presentation is something else. However, today we've got something special. And I'm just going to highlight this so I can put it in the chat. And that's the version I've selected today is by the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen. So I'm going to unshare here and let Ron play that for you. I know it's a little early for Halloween, but to get to hear the boss play that, that's kind of classic in itself.
He's such a good performer. All right, thanks. Thanks a lot, Mike. So Hewie, we're going to move into Q&A now.
Okay.
And before we do that, though, just remind everybody that the 3 items that we have for the premiere version coming up at 1/2 are Bill's going to talk on Microsoft Storage Sense. Interesting. You're going to talk about all the data that we can glean off our photographs, which is very interesting. I watched that again. That's really good. And if you want to watch more of what you just saw my video about, I'm going to do It's Time to Change, a video I did about a year ago, and it has to do with AI and the advantages of using it. So more of the same on my video that'll be coming all at 1/2 past the hour. All right, let's open it up to Q&A.